Hi, I want to show you one of the features of the DevMultiTool, which is LOD Tweaker. It allows you to set the multiple LOD groups with one click. I'll show you more or less how it works. It still needs some work, but it's kind of adjusted for the word dust and VR distances. So let's say I have 3 LOD objects here, 3 cubes, and they have LOD groups here, LOD group with a couple LOD levels. So we have a sphere, capsule and cylinder, and each one have the same. Okay, so also each object have the same settings of LOD group. So for example, LOD1 is 32%, here LOD1 is 32% as well, so they are kind of clones, but they have a different size. And the way the LOD group works, the switching LOD, is not based on distance, it's based on the size of the object in the camera view. So for example, even if those objects have the same settings of LODs here with the percentages, they will switch in a different distance. I will show you. So the first one will switch the smallest one, because it's the smallest in the camera view. The next one will be middle one, and the last one will be the biggest one. So here's the problem, because sometimes you wanna have them switch in the same distance, so you have to tweak all those things individually. Also the way you set up the LODs in the scene view, they will look completely different. The distances will be completely different in VR in Wordust. So what this tool do is you can set distances for all of the objects here to switch in the same spot. So for example, I will mark the parent of the all LOD objects, and I will set my distances here. You can set that, for example, and I will set, let's say, a very short one, so 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. It has up to 4, which is actually 5 distances. Our LOD has a 3 here, so we are okay. Actually, it has a 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So yeah, keep this one checked marked. You can tweak those distances as well a little bit. This is needed for calculation, but I'm not sure yet if it's correct. Use custom FOV, so the distance will be calculated, the conversion from the percentage from the screen view switch calculation will be converted to distance based, and one of the variables for the calculations is field of view of the headset. I put the 120 here. So for example, on index the distance will be different than on the Quest, for example, but roughly more or less you can set 100, 110, 120. Another option here is the protect last LOD. So because the tool will iterate over all the objects in the parent, some might have let's say LOD0 and LOD1 only, some might have more, some might have less. So if you set in that area here, for example, LOD3 as 20, and on some objects this LOD will be, the last one will be, for example, LOD1 or LOD2. Here we can protect the last LOD, so the cooling will never be lower than this value. So for example, I will set 100, so that will protect basically cooling of the object. Another option is you can check here, it will modify only objects that are smaller or bigger than set value. So if it's smaller, so for example I will set 5, will modify objects that are smaller in all axes than 5. So for example, if the object is 3, 4 and by 6, it won't modify it, but if it's 3, 4 and 4, it will modify it. Or bigger than, that will work kind of differently. So if I set 3 here, it will modify objects in any axis if it's bigger than 3. So if the object is 1 by 2 by 4, it will modify it. Okay, I will skip it for now. I mark the parent of my LODs and I will click apply distances. And now if I click on each separate object here, you will see that LOD1 is 32% here. On this one, LOD1 is 74% and this one is 99%. This is the closest one, so there should be a warning that you see LOD0 distance is set to 0.99 for object cubed 1, which is this one, because the object is too large to meet distance conditions. You cannot have too close object on the big one. That's the limitation of LOD built in Unity 1. We don't have to worry about that. So now if I move my scene camera, we'll see that they switch more or less the same distance. So back and forth. Say switch now. You can see this one switching closer because it's already too big for LOD, but other levels are switching more or less the same, and the cooling was, I think it's set of what, 100? No, it's 100. So further, and they will switch the same place. Say I'll lower this one to 40, so you will see. Yeah. So this 40 or these distances are not accurate in the editor view, but in VR you should have more or less those switching distances. Don't take it as a 5 is exactly 5 meters or units. In VR it will be maybe 6, 7, maybe 4, it depends what headset you have, but at least it will be kind of the same values for all of the LOD objects. Yeah, I think that's all. I hope you will find it useful. Thank you.